Tableside Talk. My name is Cam Kelly. I am a commercial real estate advisor with the Langert Commercial Group. To my right here is Evan Langert, our principal and founder.
Hi, everybody. As Cam said, I'm Evan Langert. I am the founder and principal, as he also said, of the Langert Commercial Group, and a 37-year veteran or so of the commercial real estate industry. What are we talking about today?
Today we are discussing co-tenancy and how that applies to commercial real estate. So, first off, just what is co-tenancy?
It's pretty simple. Really, it's mostly a retail concept, and it just applies to who are your other tenants in the shopping center. If I go into a shopping center that's anchored by a Giant Food and a CVS, then they're my co-tenants, along with the other people that are in the center. And why co-tenancy is important is because a lot of retailers have noticed that they do much better when they're in a situation that involves certain other tenants. So somebody might just decide, a certain restaurant or an ice cream shop or even a drugstore might say, you know what, our best performing stores are where Giant Food or Whole Foods are the anchors, and we're in other grocery store anchored shopping centers, maybe an Aldi, not to pick on anybody, or a Shoppers Food Warehouse or something else. We don't seem to do as well there. We also seem to do really well where there's a CVS, maybe not so with certain other, a Walgreens or something along that line. And so they look at it and they find out that Giant's going to open in a new shopping center, and or CVS is going to open in a new shopping center, so they want to go there because of that. So these are the favored co-tenants. If you have enough power, you're a big square footage user, and or you're national or regional, it's an uphill battle in most cases to get this. But if they're that adamant that, look, we're in this center because Giant and CVS are in here, or you see it in mall situations too. So there's Nordstrom, Macy's anchored, and some of the others, and they'll be like, well, we're in this mall because Nordstrom is here and Macy's is here. As a matter of fact, we're right between the two of them. So what in either of those situations smaller tenants might try to do is to say, look, if Giant goes out in the food anchored shopping center, or if Nordstrom goes out in the mall, then given certain other circumstances, I get to leave too, because they're the main reason that I'm here. So as you might suspect, landlords don't give those very easily, and when they do, there are conditions. It's not Nordstrom's goes dark on December 31st, so you can leave on the 1st. Normally they'll build in, we have a pretty fair amount of time to get somebody to replace them, and there's this whole number of anchors that will be satisfactory to you. So, and as I said, it's mostly a retail concept. You do run into it from time to time in office settings that I can think of. For instance, a title company. If you've got I used to be in the commercial, on commercial leadership with Keller Williams, with KW Commercial. There was a building that we had an office where was, 450, 500 agents that were in there. So the title companies want to go there because there's a lot of business to be had. Likewise, law firms might want to go in there, real estate oriented law firms. So, or you can go into to downtown DC or Baltimore, and there might be huge law firms with huge real estate practices, and title company will want to go in there because that's a good feeder for them to get business. So if they can, they might try to negotiate. It's like, look, if this brokerage leaves, then we get to leave too. Again, those situations are hard to do. And then on the tail end of that is exclusivity, excuse me. So for instance, I'm thinking the title company wants to be where the 400 or 500 residential and some commercial agents are, and where the law firm that has a big real estate practice is. But not only do they want to be there, they don't want anybody else to be there. So then your exclusivity comes in. They might also want to negotiate something saying that you won't lease any other space in this building or on this floor of the building, or if they can get it the entire building to a title company. So they're a little bit related in certain situations, but that's kind of the nuts and bolts of co-tenancy.
Okay. Would you happen to have a case study or something that you've worked on personally where the co-tenancy is applied? Maybe not strictly written out in the lease, but at the very least the concepts.
I've had some general observations over the years, and more when I was an attorney. Sometimes in the big mall situation or a large power center or something like that, where a secondary tenant is tied to the big anchor, say a Nordstrom or something along that line, and or a Macy's, and that store does go out. Then the secondary mid anchor says, well, now I can go out, and then the center turns sour very quickly, because all of a sudden, why did the smaller tenants, why are they here? Well, they're here because Nordstrom is here. They're here because the junior anchor might be there as well, and so it can become an ugly situation for them. So it's a battle between tenants and landlords, to balance their interests. Landlords don't want to do that because if, God forbid, Nordstrom has trouble, for instance, they don't want to lose half of the rest of their tenants. At the same time, the tenant looks at it and says, well, if they're gone, I'm in real trouble here. So that's an overview of the competing interests in it. I've got sort of an example, but it's more in site selection, so or how you use co-tenancy in your analysis. So sometimes we get franchises that come into the area, and they have no locations anywhere in the Baltimore or DC metro areas, and so you really don't know, if it's right down the street in Columbia or Bethesda or something along that line, and the area, that you could say, okay, I get it, and I get why they would do well here. There was a poke style restaurant that was a Florida franchise that came into Maryland. They didn't have anything here, so what I did was I asked for the addresses from the franchisor of their 3 highest performing stores. I don't know why I said 3, but it's a good number without being ridiculously exhaustive. And I looked at where they were. So they were all in shopping centers, not freestanding retail or anything along that line. All in shopping centers, all anchored by more, first tier grocery stores, not the bargain type places, but and so that was one thing, and that would be of course their co-tenants that I'm analyzing in these Florida locations. 2 of the 3 had a Chick-fil-A, so I thought, okay, well, that's a good marker too. And then they all had at least 4, I want to say 5, 6 quick service restaurant national chains in them, say a Quick Way or an MOD Pizza, a Cava, things, Chipotle, things along those lines. And so I used those co-tenants along with some other demographics, traffic counts, things along that line. And I found them a spot in Bowie that was anchored by a Harris Teeter, which is an upper end grocery store in this area. It had Chick-fil-A, and it had several of those quick service restaurants. It had a Quick Way and an MOD or a Blaze, I can't remember which it was, pizza, and several of those others. So I put them in here, and it worked for them.
That's good. That's funny because I grew up right around the street from that shopping center in Bowie.
Oh, did you?
Went into, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. They were Bowie was our rivals, but we won't get into that.
Well, Evan, thank you. Is there any other points or topics on co-tenancy that someone should consider?
Not that I can think of right now, but I always caution everybody. We speak about topics in general terms, and in your situation, there may be a moving piece or two or some other factor that changes our outlook on the topic. So we don't charge for initial consultations. If you've got a situation, whether dealing with co-tenancy or any other issue, and you just want to chat about it, feel free to give us a call and we can go through your specific situation and make sure that you're not following advice that really doesn't work for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Evan.
Of course.
Thank you, folks, and we will see you on the next Tableside Talk.
Bye-bye.